What if I told you that the next blackout could be your last, because you'll never need the grid again? Imagine never worrying about rising electricity bills, power outages, or being at the mercy of utility companies. It sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, there's a secret power source hiding in your kitchen right now. It's not some expensive gadget or high-tech device. It's something so simple, so overlooked, that most people throw it away without a second thought. I'm talking about salt and scrap metal. Two things you probably have lying around your house, just waiting to be transformed into free off-grid electricity. Let me take you back to World War II, when prisoners of war, desperate for a way to communicate, built makeshift batteries from nothing but scraps and salt water. They powered radios, sent messages, and outsmarted their captors, all with materials no one thought twice about. Fast forward to today, and most of us have forgotten this simple science. We're told to buy expensive solar panels or noisy gas generators, but the real solution might be hiding in your junk drawer. Here's the kicker. Most people will never realize the power they're literally throwing away. Don't be one of them. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to unlock this hidden energy source and take your first step toward true independence. But how does this work, and why haven't you heard about it? Let's find out. Let's face it, the modern power grid is not your friend. It's a system built for convenience, not resilience. Every year, millions of people experience blackouts, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days. A single storm, a cyber attack, or even a squirrel in the wrong place can plunge entire neighborhoods into darkness. And when the lights go out, we're reminded just how dependent we are on a system we can't control. But it's not just about blackouts. Have you noticed your electricity bill creeping up month after month? Utility companies blame everything from fuel prices to infrastructure upgrades, but the result is always the same. You pay more for the same power. And if you live in a rural area or off the beaten path, you know the grid can be even less reliable and more expensive. Now you might be thinking, what about solar panels or wind turbines? Sure, they sound great on paper, but for most people, these so-called solutions come with a hefty price tag, complicated installation, and a long list of maintenance headaches. Not to mention, they don't always work when you need them most, like during a storm or at night. The truth is, mainstream alternatives are often out of reach for the average person, leaving us stuck with the same old problems. Here's where the contrast really hits home. While most people are told to buy expensive solar panels or noisy generators, there's a simpler way hiding in plain sight. It doesn't require a big investment, special skills, or even a trip to the hardware store. It's a solution that's been around for generations, quietly waiting to be rediscovered. Let's look at the science behind this forgotten technology. So, how does a pile of scrap metal and a handful of salt turn into electricity? The answer lies in a bit of simple chemistry, something you might remember from a school science fair, but with a twist that makes it surprisingly powerful. Imagine the classic lemon battery experiment. You stick a copper penny and a galvanized nail into a lemon, connect them with wires, and, like magic, a tiny light bulb glows. What's happening inside that lemon is the same principle that powers every battery you've ever used, from your TV remote to your car. Here's the secret. When you put two different metals into a salty solution, you create what's called an electrochemical cell. The salt water acts as an electrolyte, which is just a fancy word for a liquid that helps move tiny charged particles, ions, between the metals. Each metal has a different tendency to give up or accept electrons. When you connect them with a wire, electrons flow from one metal to the other, creating an electric current. That's electricity, plain and simple. Let's break it down even further. Say you use a piece of copper and a piece of zinc. When both are submerged in salt water, the zinc wants to give up electrons more than the copper does. The salt water helps those electrons travel from the zinc through the wire to the copper. The result? A steady flow of electricity you can actually use. The more pairs of metals you connect, the more power you can generate. And here's the real kicker. This is the same principle behind the batteries you buy at the store, except you can make it for free using stuff you'd otherwise throw away. No fancy chemicals, no rare earth metals, just basic science and a little bit of ingenuity. So, what do you actually need to build one of these saltwater generators? Let's dig into the materials you'll need and where to find them, often for nothing at all. Before you start imagining a shopping list a mile long, let me stop you right there. Unlike most DIY projects that require specialty parts or expensive kits, this salt and scrap metal generator can be built with things you probably already have, or can find for free with a little scavenging. While others spend hundreds on fancy gear, you can find everything you need in your junk drawer, garage, or even your recycling bin. Here's what you'll need. First, two different types of metal. The best combinations are copper and zinc, but you can also use aluminum, steel, or even galvanized nails. Copper wire is everywhere. Look inside old electronics, extension cords, or that tangled mess of wires you've been meaning to throw out. For zinc, check old batteries carefully, galvanized nails, or even some types of plumbing hardware. Aluminum cans, steel screws, and other metal scraps can also work, though the voltage may vary. Next, you'll need salt. Plain table salt works perfectly. Add water, and you've got your electrolyte. That's it for the core ingredients. For tools, grab a small container, like a plastic cup or an old food tub, some alligator clips or basic wire, and a screwdriver or pliers to help strip wires or shape your metal pieces. Where do you find all this? Junkyards are gold mines for scrap metal. Old electronics, think broken radios, computers, or even discarded appliances, are full of copper wire and metal parts. Your kitchen, garage, or toolbox probably has everything else you need. The best part? Most people overlook these items, tossing them out without a second thought. Now let's get our hands dirty and build the generator step by step. This is where the magic really happens. Ready to turn everyday junk into real usable electricity? Let's walk through the process together, step by step. Remember, miss a step and you'll miss out on free power, so follow along closely and don't skip ahead. First, grab your copper wire. If you're using wire from an old appliance or extension cord, strip off the insulation with a pair of pliers or a utility knife. You want a clean, shiny piece of copper about 4 to 6 inches long. Next, find your zinc source. Galvanized nails are perfect, but if you're using something else, make sure it's clean and free of rust. Wipe it down with a bit of sandpaper if needed. Now, take your plastic container. This could be a yogurt cup, a small food tub, or even a sturdy plastic bottle cut in half. Fill it about 3/4 full with water. Add a generous tablespoon of salt and stir until it's completely dissolved. The salt water is your electrolyte, the secret sauce that makes everything work. Insert your copper wire and zinc nail into the salt water, making sure they don't touch each other. If they do, you'll short-circuit the cell and get no power. Space them about 1 inch apart. Use taper clips to hold them in place if needed. Now, attach an alligator clip or piece of wire to each metal piece, one to the copper, one to the zinc. These will be your positive and negative terminals. At this point, you've built a single cell. If you have a multimeter, touch the probes to the wires and watch the voltage appear, usually around 0.8 to 1.1 volts per cell, depending on your metals and salt concentration. Not bad for a pile of scraps. If you want more power, you can build several cells and connect them in series, copper of one cell to zinc of the next, and so on. This stacks the voltage, just like batteries in a flashlight. Let's talk safety for a second. Saltwater isn't dangerous, but be careful with sharp metal edges and always wash your hands after handling scrap metal. If you're using old batteries for zinc, never cut them open. Stick to galvanized nails or hardware store zinc for safety. Also, keep your generator away from electronics until you've tested the voltage and current to avoid accidental damage. Common mistakes? The biggest one is letting the metals touch inside the water. That creates a direct short and kills your voltage. Another is using dirty or corroded metal. Always clean your pieces for the best results. If you're not getting any voltage, double check your connections and make sure your salt is fully dissolved. Sometimes adding a bit more salt can boost performance. Troubleshooting is part of the fun. If your cell isn't working, swap out the metals, try a different container, or adjust the salt concentration. Every setup is a little different, and experimenting is how you'll learn what works best with your materials. Once you've got a working cell or a series of cells, you can start powering small devices. Try lighting up an LED, running a tiny fan, or charging a rechargeable battery. The sense of accomplishment you'll feel when you see that first light flicker on, powered by nothing but salt and scrap, is unbeatable. But how much power can you actually get, and what can you run with it? Let's put your new generator to the test and see what it can really do. And now comes the moment of truth. What can your homemade salt and scrap metal generator actually power? Let's start with the basics. The first and most satisfying test is lighting up an LED. Connect the wires from your generator to the LED's leads, and if you've built your cell correctly, you'll see that tiny bulb glow. It's a small light, but it's proof that you've created electricity from nothing but household scraps. That's a powerful feeling, especially when you realize you didn't spend a dime. But let's push it further. What about charging a phone? Most smartphones need 5 volts to charge, so you'll need to connect several cells in series, just like stacking batteries. With 5 or 6 cells, you can get enough voltage to slowly charge a basic phone or power bank. It won't be as fast as plugging into the wall, but in an emergency, it's a game changer. Imagine being able to send a text or make a call during a blackout, all thanks to a handful of salt and some junk metal. How about running a small radio? Radios are perfect for this setup because they require very little power. Connect your generator and you'll be able to tune in to emergency broadcasts or your favorite station, even if the grid is down. For preppers and anyone who values self-sufficiency, this is a huge advantage. Of course, there are limits. This isn't a whole house solution, yet. You won't be running your refrigerator or microwave with a saltwater generator. But for emergency lighting, radios, or charging small devices, it's more than enough. And here's the best part. You can scale up. By connecting more cells in series, you increase voltage. Connect them in parallel, and you boost current. With a little creativity, you can build a larger array to meet your needs. So, if this works so well, why isn't everyone doing it? Why isn't this simple, effective technology mainstream? Let's dig into the reasons behind its surprising obscurity. So, if making electricity from salt and scrap metal is so simple, why isn't everyone doing it? The answer is a mix of myths, misconceptions, and frankly, a lack of profit for the big players. First, there's the myth that you need expensive high-tech equipment to generate your own power. Most people have never even heard of saltwater batteries, let alone tried building one. The idea sounds almost too simple to be true, so it gets dismissed as a science fair trick rather than a real solution. Then there's the issue of profit. Let's be honest, there's not much money to be made selling you a handful of salt and some scrap metal. Big companies make their profits from selling complex, branded batteries, solar panels, and generators. There's no incentive for them to promote a technology that you can build for free in your garage. As a result, this knowledge stays buried, passed around in small DIY circles, or forgotten entirely. And finally, there's just plain lack of awareness. Most people will never hear about this unless you share it. That's why projects like this are so important. They empower you to take control, to experiment, and to spread the word. Imagine if more people knew they could generate power from what they already have at home. And let's look at how you can take this further and push the boundaries of what's possible with a little creativity and experimentation. Now that you've built a working saltwater generator, why stop there? This is where things get really interesting. There are countless ways to upgrade your setup and boost efficiency. Start by experimenting with different metals. Try magnesium strips, which are even more reactive than zinc, or use larger copper plates for more surface area. The bigger the metal pieces, the more power you can generate. Don't be afraid to play with the electrolyte either. While table salt works well, you can try other salts like Epsom salt or even vinegar as the liquid. Each combination will give you slightly different results, and you might stumble on a mix that works even better for your needs. You can also scale up by building bigger cells or connecting more of them together, creating a battery bank that can handle larger loads. Document your experiments and share your results with the community. The next breakthrough in DIY energy could come from your garage, not a corporate lab. Maybe you'll discover a new combination that doubles the output, or a clever way to make the setup last longer. Every tweak and test brings us closer to real, accessible energy independence. But before you start upgrading and experimenting, there are a few important things you need to watch out for. Safety and understanding. The limitations of this technology are key to making sure your project is both effective and risk-free. Let's cover what you need to know before you dive in deeper. Before you get too carried away, let's talk safety and limitations. Unlike gas generators, there's no fire risk or toxic fumes with a saltwater generator, but you still need to be smart. First, always handle metals with care. Sharp edges can cause cuts, and some metals may corrode quickly, leaving behind residue. If you spill salt water, clean it up right away to avoid slippery surfaces or damage to electronics. Short circuits are another thing to watch for. Make sure your metal pieces never touch inside the electrolyte, or you'll lose all your power and possibly damage your wires. Regularly check your setup for corrosion, as saltwater can eat away at metals over time. This means you'll need to replace or clean your electrodes every so often to keep things running smoothly. Be honest about what this generator can do. It's great for small devices, emergency lighting, or radios, but it won't power your fridge or heat your home. Maintenance is simple, but it's ongoing. Expect to top up water, add salt, and swap out metals as needed. Ready to take action? Let's talk about how you can start building your own generator and join a growing community of DIY energy pioneers. Don't wait for the next blackout to realize how powerful a little knowledge and a few scraps can be. Start building your salt generator today and see for yourself just how easy it is to take control of your own energy. Imagine the peace of mind knowing you have a backup plan, the independence from rising utility bills, and the satisfaction of creating something useful with your own hands. This isn't just about saving money or being prepared. It's about rediscovering the thrill of DIY discovery and joining a community of people who refuse to settle for mainstream solutions. If you try this project, share your results in the comments or on social media. Every experiment, every tweak, and every success story helps others learn and pushes the boundaries of what's possible. Don't be left in the dark, literally. The next time the power goes out, you'll be the one with the lights on, the radio playing, and your phone charged, all thanks to a simple trick most people overlook. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe for more hidden tech and suppressed science projects. There's a whole world of forgotten solutions and DIY hacks waiting to be explored, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. And if you want to see even more suppressed tech, check out these videos next. They might just change the way you think about power forever.